It was the summer of 2010. One of my friends owned a vintage Ouija board, supposedly pretty valuable. When he offered to trade it for a video game I barely touched, I didn't hesitate. It felt like a win. I figured I could sell the board later and make some quick cash. At first, I even tried using it alone, just out of curiosity. Of course, nothing happened. Exactly what I expected. I shrugged it off, tossed the board on my living room floor, and forgot about it. The next morning, though, things got weird. When I woke up, I noticed that the two plants sitting on my coffee table were knocked over. Dirt was everywhere, and right in the middle of the table sat the Ouija board. I knew I hadn't moved it. There was no breeze, no open windows. Maybe I had sleepwalked? Or bumped into the table half asleep during the night. I tried to rationalize it. I cleaned up the mess, but the carpet was already stained from the dirt. Annoyed, I carried the Ouija board upstairs and carelessly tossed it onto my bedroom floor. That's when the real nightmare began. Later that night, as I lay awake in bed, I heard a faint click somewhere in the dark. I sat up and realized my closet light was on. I hadn't touched it. Confused but not yet scared, I got up, opened the closet door, turned off the light, and climbed back into bed. About 10 minutes later. Click! I froze. I glanced toward the closet and my heart dropped. The light was on again. Fear started to creep in. I cautiously turned the light off once more and hurried back to bed, pulling the covers up like that could somehow protect me. This time, I couldn't even relax. I just lay there, staring, waiting. But instead of just the closet light turning on again, the entire room suddenly lit up. The main light, the one by the door, had been flipped on. That was it. I wasn't sticking around to find out what was going to happen next. I bolted out of my room and didn't stop running until I was outside. The next morning, I didn't waste any time. I grabbed that cursed Ouija board and hurled it into the nearest dumpster, and just like that, the strange occurrences stopped. I haven't touched a Ouija board since. Hey everyone, today, I have a chilling story to share with you. It all started with a phone call from my cousin, and what he told me still gives me goosebumps. My cousin explained that he, his brother, their dad, and a close friend decided to mess around with a Ouija board in their basement one night. Before they even began, they agreed to remove a large porcelain doll from the room. It just gave them all a weird, unsettling vibe. They placed the doll face down on a pile of towels in the next room and shut the door. At first, nothing made much sense. The board was just throwing out random letters and numbers. After a while, my cousin stepped away to use the bathroom, leaving the others behind to continue the session. While he was gone, the group decided to ask the board a new question: who is in the other room? The planchette began moving wildly, spelling out nothing but a string of random numbers. Confused, they waited for my cousin to return. When he came back, his brother showed him what the board had spelled. As he looked closer, he froze. The random numbers? It was his social security number. That's when the mood shifted. Things started feeling wrong. They decided to push further, asking the entity more questions. The spirit responded and told my cousin that he would die while serving in the Air Force. That was enough to seriously creep everyone out. So they challenged whatever it was, demanding it prove itself. The board spelled out just two chilling letters, DA. An overwhelming sense of dread filled the room. Terrified, they rushed to check on the porcelain doll they had left in the adjacent room. When they swung open the door, there it was. The doll was no longer face down. It was standing upright, right at the doorway, staring directly at them. In sheer panic, everyone bolted from the house. His best friend was so shaken that he burned the Ouija board the next day. It messed him up so badly that he reportedly had a mental breakdown for a few months afterward. And as for my cousin? Despite everything, he eventually did join the Air Force. Right now, he's stationed at a base somewhere in Europe. To this day, we still wonder, was it just a coincidence or a warning he chose to ignore? Thanks for listening to this creepy true story. If you want more spine-chilling tales like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. And remember, sometimes, it's better not to ask what's waiting on the other side. Ever since I can remember, there was always that dusty, old Parker Brothers Ouija board tucked away in our closet. As a kid, I thought it was just a silly board game until the night I discovered its true nature. When I was about 9 years old, I dragged the Ouija board out and begged my older brother to try it with me. We sat cross-legged on the living room floor, hands lightly resting on the planchette. I asked the classic questions: is anyone there? And can you answer me? But when my brother jokingly nudged the planchette around, nothing felt real. After a few minutes, bored, we shoved it back in the box. That night, I did my homework online. Every forum and blog said the ideal setup was a room lit only by candles. So, while our parents were out, I scavenged 6 candles from around the house and convinced my brother to give it one more shot. We turned off all the lights, arranged the candles in a circle, and reopened the board. With trembling fingers, I asked again, "Is there anyone here?" This time, the planchette clicked forward on its own. I yanked my hand away in shock, but my brother swore he hadn't touched it. The pointer slid to yes. My heart pounded. Something was definitely moving that thing. My brother took over and asked, "Are you a friendly spirit?" After a tense 5-second pause, the planchette glided to no. We stared at each other in horror. I bolted to my room and slammed the door. But I could hear his voice echoing faintly downstairs, still asking questions to whoever or whatever was on the other side. Screams cut through the silence. I raced back to the dining room to find my brother clutching his shirt, revealing a deep scratch on his chest like a claw mark. He didn't say much, just grabbed the board and tossed it into the fireplace. The flames roared, and he warned me in a shaky voice, "Never speak of this to anyone. We've never touched that Ouija board again." To this day, I still feel a chill whenever I think about what really happened that night and who might still be listening. Hey everyone, what started as a harmless game turned into the scariest 24 hours of my life. It all began when we found a discarded Ouija board in the trash and decided to play with it. I really wish we hadn't. One night, I had a few friends over, and someone brought a Ouija board they found in a garbage pile. It had everything, the board and the glass planchette. We set it up, turned off the lights, and started asking dumb, funny questions just to spook each other. At first, it was all a joke. We took turns secretly moving the planchette to mess with one another. Everyone laughed, not taking it seriously. Eventually, a couple of my friends lost interest. One went to the bathroom, and another just got bored and stepped away. That left just me and one other friend. Out of curiosity, I asked the board a simple but morbid question: "When will I die?" That's when things got weird. The glass started to move slowly, deliberately. "Tomorrow," it spelled tomorrow. I stared at my friend. "Was that you?" I asked. He looked just as freaked out and insisted it wasn't him. I still wasn't sure if I believed him, until the next day. The next morning, I took my dog for a walk in the nearby nature preserve. Out of nowhere, his collar snapped, and he bolted into the road. I chased after him without thinking, straight into traffic. A car horn blasted. I dove out of the way at the very last second, my foot grazing the front bumper as it passed. It was way too close. Later that day, I was back at home sitting under the ceiling fan in the kitchen. It was on full blast. I got up to grab something from the fridge, and the moment I stepped away, I heard a loud crash. I turned around. The fan had fallen from the ceiling, smashing the table, shattering every glass and plate on it. If I hadn't gotten up when I did, I wouldn't be telling this story. 2 life-threatening events. Both happened the day after that Ouija board spelled tomorrow. Coincidence? Maybe, but I've never touched a Ouija board again. And I never will.